So when we kind of come out like that, like we want the reference points to be, you know, kind of perfect. So wasn't expecting that. That really threw me off. What's up, guys? Welcome back for another video. So today we're going to be taking you through some triceps training. So again, with the lovely Mimi in the house, she's going to be here dropping some knowledge nuggets, how to effectively train your triceps. We're going to take you through the major movements that we work with. There's obviously tons of tricep variations, but what we're going to do today covers how to work all those heads of the tricep, all different movements, how to lift heavy, how to lift top, how to lift light to maximize your gain. So let's get stuck into it. We're going to start with the cable press down. So we got two positions really. You got your prone grip and then you've got your neutral grip, and then you got single arm variants of both. So they will both work like that medial and short head of the tricep mainly. Like when you do all tricep work, like you're gonna work all three heads just like in a capacity. Now the bar is a lot more loadable because it's stiff, you know, so we can transfer a lot more force into that. So if you're trying to lift something heavy for your triceps, then you might want to choose the bar attachment to do that in like a prone grip. The neutral grip doesn't have as much stiffness to it, but what it changes or what it loses in stiffness, it gains in range of motion. So with this, we can kind of pull it, you know, kind of past the body here. So we have a little bit more range of motion to work with, but we compromise range of motion with loadability. So it really depends on like on what you're trying to pick and, you know, how much weight you're trying to lift and all of that stuff. What I would suggest is maybe what I would suggest is pick one block, use this for more heavy lifting, and then maybe pick another block where you do this in your program. Or one day where you do this one and one day where you do this one.
Because you know how you're saying you can get more range of motion,
yep.
You can pull like past your body bit. If you position your elbows forward and then extend, would that not be the same?
Absolutely.
So maybe like if you didn't have a long rope available to you,
can still,
then you just adjust it that way?
If you didn't have a long rope and you had a short one, like you could do that. You'd still be compromised a little bit, like depending on your body size, but if you got narrow clavicles and your arms aren't as long, you know, you got shorter arms, you're good. Doesn't matter what rope you pick. How to lock in for the exercise. So stability is the most important thing. So we want to be locked in the torso here, and then we want the arms to be kind of tucked into the sides of the body, and we want to be pushing down. So the main thing here is that we're trying to get extension of the elbow, because that's going to flex the triceps. So we're locked in here. There's no traveling of the humerus, like the humerus stays locked in. And if the elbow is the only joint that's moving, then the tricep is the only joint that's working. So the only thing I would say is, like, I know it's a little bit uncomfortable, but what I would suggest is just trying to get like a good grip on the rope so you can push down through the hand like that. You're gonna be able to produce a lot more force by pushing downwards like this than grabbing it like that. And it's just because it's like...
It hurts.
Harden the fuck up, right? I've got a video to make here, bro. So I'll give you guys a run through on the bar attachment as well, because we don't want to just like skip over it. I'm going to go and say that, like, depending on how wide your shoulders are, you know, a wider bar might be better for someone like who's really wide across the top. Like if you don't have that luxury, there is, so we've got these cambered bars here as well. So these can be useful as well. There's nothing wrong with using that like in the same scenario. Like that slight camber kind of takes away from the width if we don't have something long. And then when we're here, same scenario applies. I'm trying to get stable, lock in my upper arms and kind of push my humerus towards each other, and then I'm trying to press down. Okay, extend those arms. And the less movement that I can have everywhere bar the active joint, the more tension I can place on the tricep. So we really want to try and avoid, you know, a lot of people try and come over the movement and get their body involved and move through the arm here, like through the shoulder joint. Really want to try and limit that as much as possible. Moving on, we're going to do an overhead variation of elbow extension. So when you're training a muscle, thinking about how can we challenge it across all of the joint actions that it does. So if we want to emphasize like tension in the where the muscle is like longer, then this overhead like extension is a good way of doing it. Obviously over there, you know, we challenge it a bit more through like middle and the short range and like different heads of the tricep too. So this one we're going to be working more of like the long head and emphasizing more tension where the muscle is, I guess, like longer. So what it looks like, I've got a couple of different variations here. So got like the rope, a little bit more malleable for people to kind of work with, like, you know, their shoulder mobility. And then I've got like this fixed movement, fixed adjusted handle here too, which again, The same principle applies. This one's going to be a little bit more loadable and be able to lift a little bit more weight here because I've got the stability or the stiffness in the handle. And then this one's not going to be as loadable, but it's going to be more complementary to people's biomechanics. You might be able to access a little bit more range of motion here too. So again, pick your poison. All right, so what this looks like, let's take this up and over, which a lot of people complain about. Like it's hard to get in and out of. Like my elbows, I want them to kind of just sit comfortably. Like you don't have to like kind of force them in here, and I don't want them to kind of flare out too much. Like I kind of just want to be somewhere in between. And then from here, I'm trying to press upwards and extend. So I don't want to walk too far away from the cable, but I don't want to be too close as well. Get nice stability through the legs. And I'm really trying to like push up and extend the arms. Get a nice squeeze of the tries. That's good. So the most important thing is we're not like really kind of forcing an uncomfortable position here in the shoulder. Like her wrist, elbow, and shoulder kind of want to go in that plane, like kind of flared out a little bit. The last thing she wants to do is like flare her elbows inwards and then have her wrist kind of pointing outwards. It just doesn't kind of work mechanically.
What do you say for people that are standing a bit more upright and those that...
It's not going to matter too much if I'm being super honest, because as soon as you take it out and push, it's going to be loaded, like the triceps going to be loaded. So I would say that like, just find a comfortable position where like you can be a little bit leant over because you're still moving, you're still extending overhead. So I'd say just like, yeah, if you like to be a little bit more back and upright, that's fine. If not, and you want to be a little bit leant forward, it's okay. I'm literally like training them like 5 days a week at the moment, at my arms.
What?
Yeah, I'm training my arms every day.
Every day?
Yeah. Because like...
How's recovery for that?
Pardon?
How's recovery for it?
Yeah, sweet.
It's fine?
Yeah, because like, I tried to explain this to someone the other day. Like, say you're like a diesel mechanic, right? A diesel mechanic uses like a wrench all day. My cousin's one. He shakes your hand, he'll break it. Just from like the day to day, because his forearms are huge. So do you reckon he goes to work and goes, oh, I can't work today, bro, because my forearms are fatigued. My forearms are overtrained. It's like, so I was like, well, fuck it. Like, I'll train them every day and just not train like, 4 or 5 exercises, just train like 1 or 2. Yeah, and then when I say train arms, it's like one day's buys, the next day's tries. It's not both. Every day.
Yeah.
And I've done everything else to try and build these arms, and it hasn't fucking worked. So. All right, so next movement, tricep dip. Really good exercise, works all 3 heads of the tricep kind of more evenly distributed than the other movements we've been doing. Most movements, like they'll be like slightly biased in one head more than the other. But here, because we got the elbow kind of coming past the midline here, I'm still going to be using a lot of the long head of the tricep, and then we're getting like good extension through the elbow too. So we're using that medial and short head as well. Not a lot of gyms will have like this machine. Like you can do like a compound dip, and like, we spoke about in the chest stuff where like you'd be a little bit more upright, like even on a dip machine, like you could, an assisted one. So you could do that. A similar concept, like, yeah, one of the tricep movements where you lift a little bit more, this and like a close grip bench.
I like how they're unilateral.
Yeah, it's good. It's unilateral because you don't feel like you're kind of pushing through one side more than the other.
Typically 8 to 10 here.
For the gram, I'm going to do whatever's needed. That was really easy.
Programmed?
Rep wise for most of this stuff, like you can do anywhere from like 5 to, kind of 15 to 20, I would say. So this particular movement, I'd probably lift a little bit more because it's like, you're really stable and you can lift a lot of weight. So if your elbows can, kind of withstand the tension, like going pretty heavy here would be good.
For someone who does experience a bit of elbow pain here, do you reckon just looking at the warm-ups a little bit more, building it up?
Warm-up and exposure to load, because a lot of people will say like, oh, I feel my elbows on particular exercises. Like it could be, like elbows need to be just warmed up a little bit more. Maybe the exposure to like heavy loadings needs to be a little bit more prolonged. Or it's like a technique thing. And then some people just have maybe some form of limitation that they weren't aware of. So obviously don't train through the pain.
So setting up around armpit?
Yeah, so wrists, elbows, shoulder, kind of want to be in like a nice kind of, I guess, like line. And then like most machines, you'll be able to either like kind of roll it in or kind of roll it out. Like it just has to comfortably, like elbows have to travel back behind you and just be comfortable, not feel like super bunched up. Not everyone's gonna have like the mobility to do this exercise. So I know that some of you guys will be watching and being like, this hurts for me, it's uncomfortable. And that's okay, just like don't do it. If it's something that just like causes pain and discomfort, we don't want you guys kind of training through that because it just causes more problems. But for those of you that can, the most important thing is we're getting that good extension and squeeze. Like we're not throwing ourselves in and bouncing out, like we're pushing, we're contracting, and we're kind of controlling the weight. It's really, really important stuff.
Yep.
That's good.
Would you say a pretty big consideration here, more range doesn't mean better?
Like
throws you out of position a little bit.
Like everything, like you want to take it back and so your muscle feels loaded and you don't feel uncomfortable. Like you never want to be like kind of squishing a square peg in a round hole, trying to search for ROM you don't have. So like I'll always like, usually in the warm-up sets kind of calibrate like, how much do I have today, or how much capacity do I have in this joint for the exercise? And then I'm always trying to kind of just standardize that when I'm lifting more weight. So, but you should do that with every exercise.
Yeah.
You know? Lying Skullcrusher, lying tricep extension, great exercise again for all three heads of that tricep, like most movements. So we're gonna start with the flat variation, which is fixed shoulder position, taking the elbows down and making sure that we're not actually crushing the skull, but like getting as close to the forehead as possible, and then pushing up and extending the arm. So the best part of this, what we're doing is a nice good squeeze at the top, and then a nice control on the way down, like she's not letting the barbell fall onto her forehead, just controlling that eccentric. Push. Very nice.
Oh.
I love this one. I feel it like kind of
right on
that like kind of outer, kind of head there. Like feels really good. All right.
Hand positioning on the bar, I have it close because that feels good for me.
Yeah.
Is that what you're going for too?
Yeah, personal preference on the grip, like whatever sits well, in the wrist there, like, wherever it kind of sits comfortable in the hand. Like, I don't really feel like there's a standardized thing, no different to like, what your squat stance is like, or what your shoulder press arm path is. It's like, just make sure it can sit in comfortably in your hand, and it's like, just move through the elbow joint, and then you're gonna get all the load on your triceps. So another variation we can do with this elbow extension is with the dumbbells. So the dumbbells will increase the range of motion of the exercise because you can work past your head. So with the barbell, like, we've got to stop at the forehead, right? The compromise we'll have is it's like unilateral, and then we'll also have like a little bit more instability, but we'll get more range of motion. So most of the time when we're picking exercises, we're understanding that trade-off, and sometimes we'll have movements in the program for heavy loadability, and then which might compromise range of motion slightly, and then we'll have other movements where it's not as loadable, but we want more range of motion and range of tension. So again, like, it just depends what you're working with and why. So the other thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna increase the height of the bench, put it on a slight incline. So what that's gonna do is when we come back into elbow flexion, it's gonna place more tension where the tricep is at a longer muscle length. So what that looks like is, I like to walk up the bench a little and just sit my head off the bench here. So when I come back, I don't have to worry about it hitting. I'm not letting my elbows kind of flail out, but I'm not forcing them uncomfortably inward as well. Again, it's like, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. We don't want the porridge too hot or too cold. We want it just right. And I'm thinking about pushing up to the roof to get that squeeze.
You want me higher up?
Look, the thing with not being higher up the bench is when you come back, the dumbbell's going to hit the bench.
Do I then just go wider? Because then I can't.
I would just walk yourself up the bench. Like, you'll be fine. Yeah, there, that's perfect. Have you got good foot pressure? Yeah. Yeah, Matt. So that's perfect. That's good. That's it. So we're going to go there and we're going to push up. Like, think about like a nice, yeah, that's it. That's good. What's happening here that I really like is this shoulder's not moving. And the elbow is doing most of the work. Just placing all the tension on the triceps. Now you can see variations where people kind of move the shoulders and stuff and kind of get a really deep stretch, but we don't have the capacity here because it's going to hit the bench. Yeah, push, push. Nice. That's sick. So if you want a little bit more of a loaded stretch, pop the incline up. If you want a little less range of motion, a little bit more load, go flat. You can pick a bar or a dumbbell. So we're giving you guys a couple of variations there. Next exercise we're going to do is crossbody press down. So the crossbody press down will emphasize more of the long head of the tricep because we'll have a bit of shoulder extension and a fixed anchored position, and then we're getting elbow extension at the same time. So if you want to bias a little bit more of that longer head, which is a bigger muscle group in your triceps, or bigger muscle in your triceps, then this is the perfect exercise to do that. Now, in terms of setup, we want like the elbow and the wrist to kind of run through the cable. So when we kind of come out like that, like we want the reference points to be, kind of perfect. So, wasn't expecting that. That really threw me off. We want a nice kind of run of the cable through the shoulder, through the elbow, and through the wrist. We want really good angles here, kind of like an X, if we're doing it with two arms at the same time. So the most important thing is we come out, we don't push down, because we want to match that line so that we are putting a lot of stress on that long head of the tricep. Let's go, man. Nice. So some of you might have some cuffs or something that you'll kind of loop through here. Like I actually have some, and they can kind of like just sit, kind of nice in the hand and kind of push out. You don't have to have them. Like you can kind of just grab onto the rubber stops here as well. Like it's not a big issue. It's like the heavier it gets, the harder it gets to kind of grab. Okay, so we're going to lock ourselves in here, slightly flared, so slightly chicken winged with the arms, and then we're going to get some stability in the scats by pushing them down. And then from here, we're going to push out, just like that. Cool.
So the name suggests crossbody, and the only thing that's crossing are the cables. You'll notice when Jace is doing it, his hands don't need to cross over. If you bring hands just to about armpit height, chest height, and then extending out.
More thinking about elbow flexion than I am about anything else. I'm just like, elbow flexion looks like this, so then I stop here, and then I'm push out. That's what elbow extension is. I think this is like a really simple way of just like assessing each rep. So we can do this in a single arm variant as well, which is really good if you're trying to bring up your triceps. Maybe you want to put a bit of focus on one side. The single limb exercises are really good for like maximizing motor unit recruitment and putting as much tension into one side of the muscle as possible. So if you've got lagging triceps like me, maybe you want to do these at the start of your session in a single arm variant as well. We did it double before, so we know that like the cable height is good for like going through the shoulder, through the wrist, and through the elbow. So now it's just about anchoring, which sometimes can be a little bit challenging. So we want to have a good anchor point so we've got stability, and then we want to be able to kind of get stiffness in the scap here, so we're not winging out too much with the upper arm, and then we get extension of the elbow. So we're really trying to get that good squeeze. Let's go, man. Squeeze. Get there, outwards. Nice. Good. I reckon that's harder to do one arm. It's like, I think you can...
It feels so much better one arm,
you can get more focus. So locked in here, and then out. All right, so I take it back asking you to stand forward before, because I can see why you walked back now. So I apologise.
That's all right, we worked around it.
You should have just told me to fuck off. I know what I'm doing, bro.
I was actually waiting like, is there like an explanation for it?
No, just the angle looks good. Yeah. Sometimes it just looks like it's where it should be, but it doesn't feel good then. I haven't done like an actual just arms only session for, I don't know,
How long?
5 years maybe. As I usually just like either stack them at the start or at the end of my workout. I'm like, this is fucking fun. That wraps up the tricep component of today's session. We were going to film the biceps too, but we're going to do that in a separate video. So stay tuned for that. As always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Keep the comments coming. Keep the love and support coming. Keep the fun trolls coming too, as long as it's fun. And we'll see you guys next time for another video.